One with me, Kadembire Dembruka, a program dedicated to bringing you newsmakers, movers and shakers who are making the news and also in the news. My guest tonight is the leader of the official opposition, TTA's President, Henry Venani. Honorable, a very good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. I'm much obliged to be with you.
Last time we had a chat was before national elections and also that contestation that was in your party and also the aftermath of some of those developments in your party. A year on, do you think that you have managed to stabilize your party?
Yes, I think we have really stabilized the party and we are really concentrating on the key strategic objectives of the party, and that is to make it an effective electoral machinery. And I took 2013, my time was very short to prepare the party for the 2014 elections. But now we have been putting a lot of work into the organization and making sure that structures are in place, revitalizing structures that are dying, making sure that branches are in place, offices are opening up in the regions, vehicles are sent out to the regions. So I think we are capacitating now the party for it to become an effective electoral machinery. Not where we want it to be, but we have done a good work. Around about 86% of work has been done. We need to resuscitate the Elders' Council of the party that has been moribund for a number of years. These are some of the issues that are there, but of course there are a lot of issues of funding that challenges many opposition parties across the globe and Namibia in general, that you can't have everything at one go. Your prudent management of your own resources, you must manage it in such a way that ideally you want everything to be in place, but then finances would also hamper you because the elections is looming large. We had by-elections in a year. So all these factors are factoring in limiting really the speed at which we want to implement a number of strategic objectives of the party.
I'll get to the funding issue because I want to pose a specific issue regarding the funds that you got after this year's budget, and you spent them on cars, for example. And people were saying, but why spend it on cars if there are other projects that you could have spent on? But one question that I want to ask you is, after the debacle surrounding your former president, Katutere Kaura, we thought that sort of infighting, expelling and getting rid of prominent members had ended. Lo and behold, we find yourself at loggerheads with Vincent Kanyetu, your former Secretary General, who was one of your greatest supporters.
Well, I think politics is measured and leaders are measured by principles. And there are certain principles in any organization that overrules all other factors, that overrules humanity, that overrules friendship, that overrules association. Our Secretary General, a dear friend of mine and a dear leader of the party, was involved in a corruption case. And as a party that supports and imbues the principle of accountability, there was no way that we can protect any leader, regardless of a position that you hold.
But this was a leader who was not tried in a judicial process. He was not investigated by the police or the Anti-Corruption Commission. You investigated yourselves and then you formed the jury and got rid of him.
You are very correct that the party has its own internal measures. And truth and behold, the accused agree to the charges that were made. So it made the whole case very easier. Now we are busy with the legal processes that you are talking about. But it started with him. He has already pleaded guilty. And therefore, because he has pleaded guilty, we're very lenient to give him a suspension of 5 years, that after 5 years he can come back. And you know that in my own career, I was out in the cold for 5 years and I came back as the leader of the party. So we are looking at all those other factors, but we had a transparent internal judicial process, a disciplinary hearing to which he came, and two separate investigations that were carried out, a disciplinary hearing of independent members within the executive of the party, highly prominent members of the party, and he conceded to the charges that he was charged with.
So you could have done this differently. You could have said, well, let's take this matter to law enforcement agencies, let it go to the court process, let's subject this to the judicial process, because this person, this individual, has a right to a fair trial, has a right to be heard, and his side obviously to present his case in a court of law.
Political parties don't operate with courts. We have an internal process. You're talking about a Secretary General who is supervising assets close to 30 million of the party and who is involved in one of the assets that has been of $1 million that has been embezzled. the issue would have a cascading effect on junior members of the party. If I, as leader, if Venani is getting away with the $2 million check that he has taken away from the party, what about a guy who would steal an engine from the party, a computer from the party? How would you deal with those things? So we were very firm. I was very firm on the question of discipline and accountability. You can't be a secretary general. You can't be a leader of an organization and embezzle resources. And you admit to the charges that were charged, and the party can protect you. You must be suspended at all costs. And then the process, the judicial processes are underway. We have already served summons on him. So for us, it's a matter of principle. You can't condone corruption. You remember, we are the official opposition of the country. We want to hold government to account. If ministers are stealing money, should Dr. Hage Geingob protect them? How should they be protected?
This is what Kenyatta said in the aftermath of that suspension.